Hello, my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be a reading vlog. It's really nice out today. I actually have time to read, which is a really good thing because I have less than 100 pages left of Dungeon Crawler Carl. I just haven't really had the time to knock them out, so today is going to be the day that we finish this. But we will also be reading some of Dragonfruit today. I'm on page 84. I actually haven't had time to read it in a while, long enough for the weather to have kind of turned from like summer to like that in-between period of summer and fall, which is actually my favorite time of year, but it's also the time of year where I start to want to pivot from my summer reads into like my fall TBR. And Dragonfruit has very much been part of my summer TBR, so I really want to read more of this before my brain fully shifts over. So I do want to make a decent dent in this today, not sure how much. I'm gonna go finish this, and when I come back I'll have a description, I'll have a review, and then we'll move on to the next read. Okay, I did it. It is done. And if you don't know Dungeon Crawler Carl, it takes place in a world where every human main construction collapses, killing everybody who is indoors at the time. The survivors are then left with the decision whether or not to enter an 18-level dungeon filled with traps, monsters, and loot, and survive a game show that relies heavily on gaining an audience and views and followers from those who are watching across the galaxy. And yeah, it is a popular one. I feel like it is everywhere right now. And I will say, I do really like the adventure of it. It is definitely a long one for sure. Not even just in terms of the series, because this is like a 9-book thing going on here, but also just like this book in general. Like, this is only 2 of the floors, which I guess makes sense when you remember that it's like 9 books. Like, I marked this as medium paced on Storygraph, but I do really feel like it could be considered like a slower pacing as well, because we do really spend a lot of time on those floors. And that's mostly because there is a lot going on here. There is a fair amount of info dumping, but also just like a lot of layers and things to consider, and just like a lot of elements to the dungeon and to the game show and the universe as a whole. And I do really love the way that this book lore drops and like teases things that are coming up in like not only this book but in upcoming books as well. I'm also really interested in the game and the universe itself. That is probably like the leading thing here for me. It's very video game, very reality competition show, which I think is really fun, and I think it's really interesting, and I think this book does a lot of really cool and interesting things with it, and I think it's only going to continue to do more of that. That being said, I didn't fully love or get into the action scenes themselves. Some were better than others for me, but I don't know why I have so much trouble getting into fight scenes in books, but it is something that I've accepted about myself. There are a few exceptions of that, of books and series that have really broken through it. This is unfortunately, for the most part, not one of them. Also, the humor. There's a lot of it. When it works for me, it really works for me, and when it doesn't, it does feel kind of rough. Carl, also rough at times. Donut, on the other hand, mostly just really fun. She's truly the real star of this series for me. I do like her dynamic and her banter with Carl a lot. So yeah, long book. It leaves off open-ended so that the second book can just like pick right up where I left off. I do think that I want to try to read it. Like I said, I really do love the journey and the adventure of it. I kind of like that it's like this insanely long series, but I'm also not super in love or attached to this yet either. The series is also just so like fully in my life and in my face right now, whether that's just seeing all of the covers, which I do really like, by the way. My coworkers are reading it. I'm seeing like bookish merch for it everywhere. I've been seeing news about the live action, just like all kinds of stuff. So it makes me really curious about the series and where things can go, and just like the potential of it, because it is so popular and so well loved. And maybe I'll get there too one day. Like I said, I think there is a lot of potential here, but there were things in here that I didn't fully connect with. There were times where I had trouble paying attention, and also just things that I found off-putting. So I'm gonna go with a 3.5 for now, but I also do want to hold space for my opinion to change in the future, whether that is for the better or also for the worse. Yeah, we will see what the future holds for this one. I am going to take a small break, but when I get back, I'm actually really excited to get back into this because I was really loving it. Like I said in the beginning, I just haven't had a ton of time to sit down and read, but today is my day and I am very excited to get back into this. Okay, so I have read to page 206, so a little bit over 100 pages at this point. And if it wasn't like later in the day, if I hadn't already read like 50 plus pages of another book before this, I think I could have easily have read more. Like a lot more, because I am very invested in this at this point, which happened very quickly with this book, but it's only like growing stronger as I keep reading. And Dragonfruit is a romantasy. It's inspired by Pacific Island mythology, and it follows our main character who is exiled after her father steals a sea dragon dragon egg that was meant for an ailing princess. She spends her time studying sea dragons until one day she encounters a sea dragon that gives her a chance to right a terrible wrong. And the setting is so beautiful, it feels so perfect for the summer. Also beautiful, the magic and the fantasy. This has to have one of my favorite magic systems that I have ever read. I love the creatures that are involved and how they combine with the magic and the fantasy. It's so cool and interesting, and the sea dragons are like this combination of beautiful and terrifying, which I love. And this book does get like dark and gory at times. And I've really felt like the grief of those moments, and I think part of that is just like the contrast with the love and the beauty and the charm that this story has had so far, with the violence and the death that has also occurred. There's also been a fair amount of adventure so far. There is more coming in the last 150 pages, and I'm really looking forward to it. There's also been like complex dynamics between the characters that I've really liked, as well as a lot of love. I've just really enjoyed like the characters as they've gotten introduced as well. There's also a villain who I think has an interesting dynamic and history with one of our main characters, which on that note, I've also really enjoyed the structure of this book so far and how it's flashing back in time when necessary. I really like the romance as well. I also feel like this book has like a subtle, charming humor to it. I'm really excited to read more of this, hopefully soon, because I do feel like this has a lot of potential to be a 5-star read for me, depending on the ending. But yeah, that is going to be it for the day, because I do not want to read myself into a reading slump. So thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye.